Hello, America. Well, that didn't take long. I'm not saying that Joe Biden listened to my recent episode in which I called for him to drop out and said that if he stayed in and lost, that the entire world would blame him for absolutely every terrible thing that Trump would ever do. Yes, in no way am I saying that I, Theb A Stard, the embodiment of and only hope for America, and host of America, the podcast, the show you are listening to right now, and objectively the last important voice that called for Joe Biden to drop out, had anything to do with Joe Biden's decision to drop out. Except that I am saying that, and I am also saying that President Joe Biden is a very big fan of America, the podcast. Allegedly. See, Tim, I can still say allegedly and not get us sued. I hope you're listening, because you better be. Tim is not here. He's on vacation because he escaped. It's my fault, really. I'm the one that did not put enough alligators in the moat. Maybe I should make the moat wider. I have heard that some of my billionaire friends are installing fire moats around their bunkers. I should look into that. Hey, Sean, are the levels good? Thank you, Sean. That is my nephew, Sean America. Veteran America, the podcast listeners will remember him from our mini episodes for when Road Trip, A Journey Across America was in the America, the podcast feed. It is in its own feed now, and you can go subscribe at the link in the description. And for those of you wondering, I did have to pull a few skulls and bones, but Sean did get into the Yale School of Music, and his mastery of the harp is growing by the day. I will go into detail maybe some other time, maybe next year. But for now, we need to talk about the future of these United States and now the Democratic Party. So, I have to admit that I was that I was wrong. Wow, that hurt. That hurt my chest. I was wrong in saying that Kamala Harris would not be the Democratic nominee. That hurt. That really hurt. Okay, pull it together, Theb. Tim's not here. You have to do this. Okay. I was wrong. Ouch. About whether or not Kamala Harris would be the Democratic nominee. I personally called for Gavin Newsom or Gretchen Whitmer, I believe. She was my favorite, but she does not want to run right now, most likely because she wants a political career, and going up against Kamala Harris right now would be political self-harm, as you would be trying to not only unseat the heir apparent to the Democratic Party, but the first East Asian woman Democratic nominee. So, not a good look, and also why it's not happening. As of this recording on July 23rd at 10:10 a.m. Central Standard Time, Kamala Harris has earned over $100 million since Joe Biden dropped out. And the number of dollars and number of supporters is rising by the day. Not to mention the multiple states like Pennsylvania and Texas that are pledging their delegates to Kamala Harris as we speak. Well, I am speaking, quote from Kamala Harris, who will be the next president of these United States, if there is a God, and I personally know God. They are a non-binary Filipino person who lives in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Any America the Podcast listener knows that. And they know to not get God, or Joe Biden for that matter, talking about trains. But I digress. Since Joe Biden has dropped out, not only have they raised tons of money that gives me just the biggest capitalism boner I've ever had, but Joe saying that it is Joever has caused Democrats across the country to breathe a sigh of relief, especially since over 2/3 wanted him to drop out of the race in the first place. And not only did he drop out of the race, he did so on National Ice Cream Day. So there's more likely the reason that he dropped out. When he found out there was a National Ice Cream Day, he was like, oh my God, really? You mean I can retire now and then go eat ice cream on a whole day? Oh my God. And my response to that is, yes, Joseph, you can. Why don't you grab your ice cream bucket and meet me in my bathtub and we can eat ice cream and chocolate cake like the billionaires that we are. Well, I'm a billionaire. You will be eventually, because presidents usually get very, 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 very rich when they leave office. Except for Donald Trump, he actually lost money, but that is neither here nor there. Well, actually, most of that money is with the state of New York now, but that's, again, neither here nor there. Let's see, where was I? Yes, Kamala Harris is running for president. With her now at the helm, the Democrats have begun to rally. Democrats from across the country like Nancy Pelosi, Bill and Hillary Clinton, multiple congresspeople, as well as many Democratic governors. Not to mention the $100 million they've received in donations, both small and large. Just talking about that amount of money gives me what I believe Southerners call the vapors. And this new wave of Democratic support now has the Republicans quite literally shitting their pants. And I do get to say literally because Donald Trump has been reported to wear a diaper, and that plenty of people smelled it when it would happen. But actual poop stories aside, the Republicans are now trying to resort into suing different states to keep Joe Biden on the ballot because he already won the primary, so he has to be on the ballot, even though only 14 million people voted in the primary, and the majority of those people did not want Joe to run in the first place. Sure, plenty of people voted for, Mike O'Malley? No, he was in 2016. I don't even remember the man who ran against Joe Biden, but he was so insignificant that he dropped out way before the end of it. But the Republicans are trying to sue and trying to keep Joe Biden on the ballot, and it's just not simply going to work. For starters, there is no nominee until it is chosen at the convention, much like how Donald Trump was chosen at the Republican National Convention officially, even though that there was a primary that he quite literally won. And yes, Joe Biden again did win his primary, but in his own words, the Democratic National Convention can replace him as the nominee because that is the democratic process. Also, they're likely going to hold a virtual roll call for Kamala Harris before the convention, since they were going to do that with Joe Biden so that they would make this bullshit deadline. And as a side note, there is a ballot deadline, so why did the Democrats schedule their convention after the deadline? I mean, I don't know whose idea that was, but they should be shot out of a cannon into a bunch of pillows so they survive, but the shock of the cannon might set them straight. Or just, schedule the convention earlier next time. Christ. But I digress, and yes, this is a ramble episode because Tim is not here to keep my very important thoughts straight. He's, I'm not going to dox him, but he's going to go see the lesser of the footballs, the soccer kind. I don't agree with it, but that's what he's going to do. And isn't that democracy? Tim going to see a soccer game instead of being here running my sound and having to rely on my nephew Sean? Yes, Sean, you are a great help, and you did hit record, right? Very good. Anyways, my very important point is the Republicans do not get to pick the Democratic nominee, just like the Democrats do not get to pick the Republican nominee. The Republicans, though, they are now running the oldest candidate in history, who is also a convicted felon, a confirmed rapist, and, just a bunch of other things, going up against a former prosecutor for the presidency of these United States. I don't know about you, America, but that gives me even the littlest bit more of hope in our democratic system. That a man like Joe Biden, who has actually done more in his presidency, both good and bad, but a lot of good, in 4 years than any other president has done in their entire 2 terms. And now, much like George Washington and Cincinnatus before him, Joe has decided to step down from this race and pass the torch to a younger generation. At least that's the narrative the Democrats need to go with because they have to win this. Otherwise, everything I said in my last episode, the horrors of Project 2025 and Trump and J.D. Vance holding on to power until kingdom come, will become a reality. But now the Democrats and America has a spark of hope, that hope being Kamala Harris and the 5 different VP choices she may pick, either Josh Shapiro or... Well, Josh Shapiro. It should be Josh Shapiro. Mark Kelly, too. He's an American hero. And just a bit of advice from, the embodiment of an only hope for America. Please do not pick that Kentucky governor. We do not need any Democratic governors leaving the South. They're like unicorns. Well, anyways, this has gone on far too long, and I am also due for my own vacation. Just not going to see a filthy liberal soccer game. Maybe I'll call that fire remote company and have them install a bunch of flamethrowers that can come out to the side. Or maybe install alligators made of fire. That could be cool. What do you think, America? Should I install alligators made of fire? I know this episode started with Joe Biden dropping out and how we should vote for Kamala Harris, but now I want to talk about alligators made of fire. So, are you with me? Well, alright, maybe you're not. Maybe you too want to go on vacation. Well then, I will let you, and I will be back again in 2 weeks on a Friday, because this show comes out on Fridays now, and our next episode will be about the Great American Divorce, and how it may be inevitable if Donald Trump wins. That said, thanks for listening, and don't forget to follow the show wherever you get your podcasts, and follow the show on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at America the Podcast for new video messages every day. And special thanks to my nephew Sean for his absolutely amazing engineering skills. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean. Yes, we will have you on again next year when the show is animated. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think I was supposed to mention that happening, but I guess that's why Tim needs to be here. Thanks for listening, America. Good night and good fight.
It's America, the podcast.
You've been listening to America, the Podcast, the original series. The show stars Tim Phillippe and Theb A Stard, the embodiment of and only hope for America, as themselves. Any additional voices heard in this episode were portrayed by the fabulous cast of voice actors listed in the show notes. The amazing America, the Podcast theme song you are listening to is by Timmy Two-Step, and all other music and sounds heard in this show were procured through Storyblocks, Pixabay, Freesound.org, and Sonus. America, the Podcast is recorded at Shway Media Studios in Austin, Texas, and is mixed and edited by Tim Phillippe. Executive producers for this show are Alana Matos, Tim Phillippe, and Theb A Stard. For more information, please visit shwaymedia.com and americathepodcast.com. Copyright 2024, all rights reserved.
This has been a production of Shway Media, all rights reserved. For more information, please visit shwaymedia.com.